The 2025 One Chicago crossover put Trudy Platt at the center of its storytelling, but I am mad at how she is utilized in light of Chicago PD's usage of the character. As one of the remaining original characters in the police procedural, Amy Morton's character has been through all of the franchise's specials since the tradition started. Technically, she is a part of the 21st Police District, but considering the shared reality, she has also appeared in several episodes of Chicago Med and Chicago Fire. Still, her primary stories have all gone down with Hank Voight's intelligence heavily involved. While I watch all installments of the One Chicago franchise, I have a soft spot for Chicago PD, primarily because I've always leaned towards police procedurals. Admittedly, I wasn't the biggest fan of Platt at first. I didn't like that she was being too hard on them patrol officers, Kevin Atwater and Kim Burgess. However, as One Chicago went on, I started to appreciate Platt for what she represents on TV. Unfortunately, Chicago PD Season 12 has failed her in more ways than one, and the 2025 One Chicago crossover makes it worse. Trudy gets shot and fights for her life in the 2025 One Chicago crossover. The 2025 One Chicago crossover puts Trudy and Mooch through the ringer. Trudy and Mooch in One Chicago crossover. Because the 2025 One Chicago crossover started with Chicago Fire, its events are kicked off with Firehouse 51 responding to a call downtown. Before it, however, the newly promoted Mooch McHolland was talking about some drama at home with Trudy. This sets up the pair's harrowing day, not only as first responders but also as a couple. I do like that they are at the center of the storytelling, but while Burgess and Adam Ruzek, as well as Stella Kidd and Kelly Severide are subjected to a somewhat similar ordeal, Trudy and Mooch's plot is just better executed. That being said, I don't like that part of it that includes Trudy being rushed to the hospital as she fights for her life. Not just because I don't want One Chicago to lose her, but because it's a disservice to her character. It's no secret that Chicago PD has sidelined the character for quite a while now. It started when it slowly phased out the patrol part of its storytelling. The 2025 One Chicago crossover could have been the opportunity to highlight how great Trudy is, but she spends the majority of it lying in the hospital. Why One Chicago crossover should have given Amy Morton a better role. A different story for Trudy would have made the crossover better. There are a couple of better ways that the 2025 One Chicago crossover could have used Trudy. Subjecting her to a near-death experience and having the good people at Gaffney Medical work on her while the rest of Intelligence and Firehouse 51 navigate the situation is such a waste. I would have rather seen her more active on the scene, especially since she supposedly has ties with the case's main culprit, Lauren Bates. NBC and One Chicago could have leaned more on their history, not just to give Mooch's wife something substantial to do, but also to save the event's villain twist from falling flat. We've seen how strong Trudy has been throughout her stint in One Chicago. The 2025 crossover could have been a great way to remind viewers of that. Instead of just always playing a supporting role in Hank's cases with Intelligence, we could have seen her play a pivotal part in figuring out the whole case with her great detective skills. Granted that Trudy's near-death experience had given Christian Stolt the chance to flex his acting muscles, but had One Chicago taken a different route, it could have also given Morton her time under the spotlight. Chicago PD Season 12 needs to use Trudy more. Trudy needs better storylines. While I am disappointed in how the 2025 One Chicago crossover used Trudy Platt, the good news is that Chicago PD Season 12 has the opportunity to make up for it. With a handful of episodes in the coming months, the police procedural has enough time to give her the time under the spotlight that she deserves. Perhaps she can be insistent about doing more at work after her near-death experience while bringing back patrol officer-centric storylines would be the best way. I don't think it's in the cards for now. However, doing a Trudy-centric episode or giving her a meatier role in Intelligence's next cases would be a good start. At the very least, the 2025 One Chicago crossover should be a reminder to the franchise of how truly great she is as a character and that it is wasting her. Enjoy Screen Rant's primetime coverage? Click below to sign up for our weekly Network TV newsletter. Make sure to check Network TV in your preferences and get the inside scoop from actors and showrunners on your favorite series.